Hi everyone, it's Kamila. I hope you're all having a great day. If you're new here on the channel, we mostly do speed builds, and today we are doing something super special for me because it's something I've been wanting to do for a while now, and it's actually related to a show that is very close to my heart and that I absolutely adore. So I hope you will like it, and I'm super excited to present it to you guys today. But I first started it, I think, in summer or even maybe before. And then I wasn't really sure of the result that I had. I never finished it back then, and I also lost the save where it was. So I kind of had to restart. It's not that bad because I wasn't super far in the process anyway, and I still prefer the version that I have right now. It was super complicated and complex to do this build for me, not only because we have a 64x64 lot and we have nothing bigger and I wanted bigger, but also because I really wanted it to be accurate because it's related to a show, as I said, and it's kind of complicated to do this build, but I will explain later why in the video. So yeah, it's also why I wasn't able to have another video ready this week. It took me super long to do this one. I think probably 15 hours or something like that. It doesn't seem that hard to do, but there's a lot of things I had to change. And since the lot isn't that big, as I said, it was super complicated to make fit everything I wanted and to make it look good at the same time. But yeah, I hope you will like it. And if you don't really know me, I think probably no one on my channel knows that because I'm not talking about that much, to be honest. But when I love something, I kind of have an obsession over it. So for example, with The Sims, I'm kind of obsessed and I have a YouTube channel around it. But I have another obsession, and it's actually Miraculous Ladybug, so a French show that I really like. I'm not French, I'm French Canadian, but just because it's in the same language as my native one, it's already nice for me, and I really like the storyline and everything. So if you don't know this show, I will kind of do a little resume or synopsis so you will be able to get a little more what I'm talking about, even if it's not necessarily necessary, I would say, to understand the build and what I will talk about and what I was creating here. But I still feel like it's a good idea to talk about it, and I will also show some pictures of the real show so you will be able to see where I was coming from. So this show is based around very special jewels that are called miraculous. They were created centuries ago to protect humans from danger or threats. And when you own one of them, a little spirit called Kwame will appear and will give you a very special superpower. All of them are actually related to an animal or an insect, and for centuries, humans didn't hear about superheroes in most countries, so they kind of forgot about their existence, or at least it's what they're saying in some episodes of the show. So one day, a man with the butterfly Miraculous started to create villains. This Miraculous gives you the ability to give a superpower to a champion of your choice. So as you know, Miraculous were created to make heroes and to protect humanity, but that's not what he decided to do. His goal was to attract superheroes, and of course, when a villain shows up, superheroes will always be there. And he wants two precise Miraculous, the Ladybug's one and the Cat's one. So he wants his villains that he's creating to get those for him. And at first we don't know why, so I won't go into that, and I don't want to tell anything that you don't know right away when you start the show, but at least the heroes owning those two Miraculous, so the Cat's one and the Ladybug's one, are protecting Paris from him and the villain. So first we have Marinette, which is the principal character of the show, and she's the one who owns the Miraculous of the Ladybug. She has the power of creation, which is the strongest power there is. And then we also have Adrian, who has the Cat Miraculous. He has the power of destruction, and together they're stopping the villains and Akmoth, which is the owner of the butterfly Miraculous. So they're called Ladybug and Cat Noir by citizens, and they have a secret identity, so they don't know who they are in real life, but they're actually teenagers of 14 years old that are studying and have a very normal life apart from being able to save Paris every day. And I apologize if I'm not making the story very clear or if I'm not very good to tell stories anyway. I don't think it's my strength, so sorry about that, but I can assure you the show is pretty good and there's a lot of things that I really like in it. So the first season doesn't have a lot of suspense and there's no plot really, because at first I think there's kind of a very long intro that you need to watch in order to understand a little more how everything works in the universe of Miraculous. But as soon as you enter in the season 2 and 3, you will have a lot more plot and a lot more progression in the story, if that makes sense. So I personally recommend at least trying to watch 2 seasons. And I think the favorite thing of the fandom of Miraculous is definitely the love square that there is, because it isn't really a plot, so I can tell you, but Marinette and Adrien, who are the 2 principal characters, as I said, and who are the heroes of Paris, don't know they are in the same college. So they're saving Paris every day together, but they don't know who they are in real life, and they don't know that they're friends in real life. And Adrien is actually in love with Ladybug, and Marinette is in love with Adrien. So, for example, Ladybug will push away Cat Noir because she doesn't know it's Adrien, and Adrien will push away Marinette because he doesn't know she's Ladybug. So that's very frustrating, and it's kind of the very nice love square that there is in the show and that everyone loves, but we also find it frustrating too. But I feel like you really need to try to watch if you want to know if you will like it, and maybe the little images that I will put will make you want to watch it. I don't really know. And I would also like to add that I know some people think it's weird when teens or adults are watching animated shows, but Miraculous is actually watched by more teens and adults than kids. So maybe it will make you want to watch it a little more, I don't really know. But I should probably start talking about the build. So what we're doing is Marinette's house and also the park that is behind it, and it's called Place des Vosges in the series and also in real life, because this place is based around a real place in Paris. So I will put a picture of the real park and Place des Vosges, and I will also put the one that is in the show because I kind of did a mix of both. It's more empty in the show with a lot of sand. There's also a fountain and a carousel, but other than that there's not that much. But I really wanted to make it functional in The Sims, so you will be able to choose if you want a residential lot or a park if you want to download this build on my gallery. So there's some chess tables, a lot of benches and everything, so it's a nice park, and I wouldn't be able to recreate exactly the one that is in the show because it's kind of complex and there's a lot of round shapes, and we don't really have that in The Sims, at least not like I wanted. So I did my best, but it's not 100% accurate. For me, the House of Marinette is better. I still really like the park, just wanted to point out that it's not the most accurate part of the build. And it's not fully furnished, of course. The only part that is furnished is the park, of course, and we have Marinette's house that is too. So I hope you won't mind, but I don't really know anyway what's in these red buildings around the Place des Vosges. And I also wanted to point out that in real life, all the red buildings around the park are around the whole park, but since I don't have a very big lot, I wasn't able to do that. So I cut a part of it at the right and also below it, I could say. Hopefully that makes sense and you will understand, but I couldn't do it and I didn't have a lot of space anyway, and I had to make a lot of choices when I was doing this build to make it accurate, but at the same time make it look good in The Sims and make it work. So I hope it's okay with you. It took me super long to do because I had to change a lot of things. It was a lot of different things to put in one single lot. So as you can see, we have Marinette's house at the right. Then behind it, we have a lot of other buildings that are unfurnished, but I still had to place, otherwise it would look weird. And then we have all the red buildings around the Place des Vosges. We have the park. So I had to use the platforms for the park and also a lot of different pathways and everything. So it was hard to make everything fit and to make everything proportional, if I can say it like that. Hopefully you will understand what I mean. But at first, the red buildings just weren't really looking good because they weren't large enough. So the roofing looked weird and everything. I had to restart a couple times. And I didn't show that on camera, otherwise the video would have been way too long. But it was super long and I didn't record a big part of it. So I actually don't know how much time I spent on this, but probably 15 hours. I don't know if I already said it in the video. I worked a lot more on it off cam than on cam, to be honest. And it was a lot of things to figure out. I wasn't sure of what I wanted to include outside and everything. So yeah, it was kind of a mess to do this speed build, but I'm happy with the result. And I know that if I never did it, I would probably have regretted it because it's something that I really wanted to do, even if it was hard. And I thought about abandoning again once, to be honest. It's very complex, even if it doesn't seem like it. I don't know if I will be able to explain really what happened, everything that I was thinking of, and everything that came to my mind. But you will also see that at first I put everything in white on the red buildings, the windows, and also the kind of stone thingies. I put it white at first, but then I changed it for beige, and it's beige in real life and in the show, I think. So I think it looks better that way, and it's also more accurate, so it's perfect that way. And I will start talking about the house right now. So it has 4 floors and they actually have a bakery. So her parents are owning one and it's in the first floor, of course, and then we have their house. So the second floor is for the bedroom of their parents, but we never see it in the show. So I kind of had to imagine it. And same for their bathroom, we never see it either. And then for the third floor, we have the commune area with the living room, kitchen, and dining room. And the last level is for Marinette's bedroom, which was also super hard to recreate because she has a bunk bed, which we can't really do in The Sims unless you use platforms. And she also has a ladder that leads to a terrace or a rooftop. So just by saying that to you, I think you get what I mean by complicated. But it was a lot of fun to try something else. It was a good challenge. Of course, I didn't restrict myself for the packs, otherwise it would have been hell, I think. And I tried to make the roofing on the other buildings that aren't the red ones accurate and look like in Paris a little. So I had to make a little research and to check out on Google if it looked like that. And I kind of tried to reproduce them. So I hope you will like it, but Marinette's roof isn't perfect, I have to admit. I can't do better in The Sims, to be honest. You probably saw in the pictures, it's a super complicated roof, and it's not really possible to do it perfectly in The Sims, but I did my best and I feel like it's pretty accurate anyway. I also want to point out I put some cars from Debug in the roads. I felt like it was more realistic, but now that I think about it, maybe it annoys some people that the cars aren't actually moving. So if you don't like it, you just have to remove them. And I also put some parked ones. So I felt like it made more sense, especially since Paris is kind of a very busy city. So I hope you will like the result of the exterior. And now we're starting the interior with the bakery that is in the first floor. So the bakery has a very cool design, but it's also a little weird to do in The Sims. So all these things, it's not things that I would do usually if I wasn't trying to reproduce anything, especially the hallways that there is in the house. You will see later what I mean by that. But the bakery has a very nice ceramic tile. It's very different than the one I had, but since I'm not using CC, I wasn't able to have something more accurate. But at least it's the same colors, so black, yellow, and white. Then we have some very nice patterns on the walls. So I tried to put, I think it's from Dine Out, some very nice lights that are sticked on the wall, I guess. Then I used a lot of get to work in the bakery for the cashier, for example, and all the places where I can put some foods and bread and everything. I also used some muffins from Debug and some bread. I think that's from base game, but I'm not really sure. So yeah, there's a lot of details, and I even took the opportunity to use the new pack Paranormal to put some candies, because I noticed that there are some candies in the bakery very often. So I used those very nice jars that we just got. Yeah, I tried to put a lot of details. Maybe it's not 100% accurate. I will probably put the pictures that I used as a reference, because I made a Word doc with all of the images that I used, so you will be able to compare it. And I also tried to make the shape of the counters very similar, so I hope you will like how I did it. Since all the counters are white, it doesn't really glitch. For example, when you place some objects, sometimes it will kind of flicker, but it wasn't the case this time because it's all white, or at least it's kind of seamless, so I hope you won't mind about that. And there's also the place in the bakery where they're doing the bread and everything, so they have a nice oven for bread, and they also have a table, of course, and some ingredients. It's a custom oven that isn't working. I hope you will like it. I feel like it's a great idea, and I think it's well executed too, but of course it's not 100% accurate since we don't have an actual oven that looks like the one in the series. And I want to mention too that there's these kind of wall dividers. There's half walls that are yellow and black in the series, and then on top of it there's kind of some grids, I could say. So I decided to use the wall dividers from Vintage Glamour, and I elevated them to make it look better, but I never found something that was looking better in Debug, so I feel like it's great. And of course the bakery isn't really playable in game. You can't really do actual bread or anything, and you can't access the ovens because they're elevated and they're super close to each other, and there's even some shells on top of it, so the ovens definitely won't work. But it was more to reproduce it than doing a build for a save file or a build that you can absolutely play with. But that's all I had to say for the bakery. And then we also have these very weird hallways that lead to the other floors. And the design isn't exactly something that I like, to be honest. So these staircases are blue, and same for the wallpapers, but the flooring is in this kind of pattern, mosaic pattern, that is looking even weirder with the rest of the room. And there's a very big royal blue rug, so nothing fits in my opinion, but I don't really know why they did it that way. Maybe it looks like that in Paris, I don't really know. I also want to say that sometimes in the series, the staircases and doorways aren't really making sense. So for example, in an episode, the staircase will be leading to a certain way. In another episode, it would be the opposite. So I had to decide myself, since they didn't make a real choice in the series. I guess it's normal in some shows like that, that it's not 100% perfect. But yeah, I just decided to make it the way I felt like it was better. So it looks very weird, and I would never do that in my builds usually. I used the Discover University wallpaper, and for the flooring it's pretty much the same as in the bakery, but it's in another colorway, so blue, and it's from Vampires, by the way. And sometimes I wasn't even able to find pictures that would help me to understand better their apartment and how I would do their house. So I had to go back to the episodes and watch it on Netflix. And if you didn't know, you can't really screenshot the episodes on an iPhone. So I wasn't able to store kind of the screenshots or the things that I needed, so I had to go back to every episode, and at least I watched the show a lot, so I knew which episode had which room in it, so it was easier for me. But I would say it was one of the things that made it complicated for me to do the build and longer too. But right now we are doing the parents' bedroom, which is kind of big. The floor plan of this floor isn't shown in the show, as I said, so I did what I thought was best, and I kind of kept the same aesthetic as the rest of the apartment, so the same flooring and the same wallpaper too, and the same colors. I put some plants, and the mom of Marinette actually has some Chinese origins, so there's some elements of this culture in the apartment. I had to use some things from Snowy Escape, so it's Japanese, it's not the same thing, but I really wanted it to be accurate, and it fit really well, the vibe and the aesthetic. Some of the wall art looked almost the same, so it's a good thing that we got Snowy Escape recently. It helped me a lot with the apartment, but as you can see, their bedroom has everything they need. They even have a TV, an office, a dresser. I really like the way it looks in the end. And I even put a bookcase. The bathroom is super simple. I picked the same tiles as the hallways to make it realistic and everything. There's not that much details in that room, so it's not super interesting, but I still decided to include it since there's only one bathroom. And I also picked the same wallpaper that I put in the kitchen. And you will see this room, the commune area, is kind of weird, but I really wanted it to be like in the show. So we have some pink, some blue. Everything isn't perfect, but I used the objects that were the most close to it. So it's a little weird, but we have a blue fridge and some pink cabinets that are fitting with the tiles in the kitchen. Maybe you won't like the tiles that I used. For me, it was the more accurate ones, but there's other pink tiles that are in the game, so maybe if you download this build, maybe you will want to switch the tiles. There's also some plants, and I made sure to include the same clutter that there is in the house. The only thing I added that isn't there is the two shelves with the plant, the books, and the little limes, and I also made sure to use lights that were very similar. Those are from Bowling Night, if I'm not mistaken. And for the living room, I used a couch from Base Game, and I made an L shape with it, and then I put some pillows on it, and then I also used some chairs because there wasn't any pillows with the color that I wanted. And behind the kitchen, in the pictures that I saw, there's a door that is similar to the ones we got with Snowy Escape, and I actually don't know what's in this room, so I decided to put a yoga room. I don't really know what is there. Maybe it's even another bathroom. I'm not really sure, but I felt like it was a good idea to include a yoga room there. And we also have a ladder leading to Marinette's bedroom. Usually it's a staircase, but it wasn't really fitting in this house. And in her bedroom, there's actually a trap leading to the commune area, living room, etc. So I felt like it was better to add a ladder anyway. She has a very big office that I tried to recreate. And of course, for me, this room is the least accurate one because of the bed situation, bunk bed, and the access to the rooftop too. It was super hard to make, to be honest, so that's why I decided to do the shape of the bedroom with the platforms and everything off cam. I hope you won't mind, but it's super simple. There's just a section where I put the bed and I play tested it. It was super hard to make it work because the Sims have to be able to reach it, be able to go in the bed and go in the ladder. The ladder isn't being placed in the speed build, so you won't see me place it. because it's not looking really good when there's a ladder and it leads to the exterior. The lighting in the room gets a little weird, so I wanted to take the screenshots with the good lighting. So that's why you won't see me put the ladder, but I will do it before placing this build on the gallery. Then we also have a pink couch, and I tried to make a special rug with 3 different rugs because she has a very special rug in her bedroom with some pink, black and white, a little bit like the rest of her bedroom. And she also has a lot of pictures of Adrian because she's in love with him. So it may sound weird, and it's actually a little weird, but he's a model, so I guess she has some pictures from magazines or everything like that. I also put a chest because she has one, and a vanity. Usually her vanity is pink and black, but we don't have that in the game, and I put a white one instead. So overall, her bedroom is very different in my opinion, but it still works, and I feel like you can still see it's hers. And I tried to make the clutter on the desk very accurate, and I also used the base game dresser to make some little storage space. Maybe she puts her jewels in it, I don't really know. And we also have the rooftop that I tried to recreate too. Oh, and I also put some windows where there was some windows in her bedroom, but since there's roofing, you can actually see outside in the game, but I felt like it was more accurate that way. But we're already at the end of the video, and I feel like it's the first time where I don't have any trouble doing a voiceover that lasts the whole video. But I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe you're interested in seeing the show I was talking about and that it was related to. If so, I definitely recommend it. It's one of my favorites, even if for some people it's for kids. I don't really mind. But that's it for me today, so I hope you liked this build and you enjoyed the video. If it's the case, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on social medias, all the links will be down in the description. And you can download this build on the gallery. My ID is KamilaYtb. So thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I wish you all an amazing day. Bye!
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors. Like the moon needs the sun, we don't care about the others. You set my